A billionaire tycoon once stood at the edge of a track and made a struggling man an offer. Run a single lap in under 60 seconds. Win $1 million. The man was a former athlete. He was fast. He was hungry. He'd worked 3 jobs for the past 11 years and never once gotten ahead. $1 million would change everything. He stepped to the line. Right before the start gun, the tycoon walked over and handed him a backpack. Inside, 40 pounds of iron weights. "Run," the tycoon said. The man ran. He gave everything he had. His lungs tore. His legs shook. He crossed the line in 80 seconds. He failed. The crowd turned on the tycoon. Cruel, impossible, rigged. But the tycoon just looked at the man, still bent over catching his breath, and said something quiet enough that only he could hear it. "You didn't fail because you're slow. You failed because you believe effort can overcome physics." Most people spend their entire lives running that lap. They breathe harder. They work longer. They sacrifice more. And every year, somehow, they end up further behind than when they started. Today, we're going to look at the exact weight inside the backpack, 5 specific weights, and 5 specific ways to take them out. The tycoon looked at the man's shoes. Cheap, canvas, worn through at the heel. "How often do you replace those?" The man straightened up. "Every few months. They fall apart." The tycoon nodded slowly. "A wealthy man buys $120 boots. They last 10 years. His real cost, $12 a year. You buy $30 boots. They fall apart in 3 months. Over 10 years, you spend $1,200, 10 times as much, and your feet are wet the entire time." He paused. "The system charges you a penalty for not having capital. Late fees, overdraft charges, high interest rates because you're a risk. The small pack of toilet paper that costs more per sheet because you can't afford the bulk size." He reached into the backpack and held up the first weight. "This is the scarcity tax. And here's what makes it truly dangerous. Harvard researchers discovered that when your mind is under constant financial pressure, calculating rent, covering the next bill, surviving the next 30 days, your effective cognitive capacity drops by the equivalent of 13 IQ points. The same as going 24 hours without sleep. You are not failing because you're not smart enough. You are failing because you're trying to solve long-term problems with a brain locked in survival mode." "So what do I do?" the man asked. "Your first goal isn't wealth. It isn't investing. It isn't a house." The tycoon set the weight down on the track beside him. "Save $500. Put it in an account you never touch. Not because of what it buys you, because of what it gives back. When the car breaks down and it's an inconvenience instead of a catastrophe, your brain comes back online. You stop reacting. You start thinking. That $500 doesn't just sit there. It buys back your cognitive bandwidth. It restores the processor." The man stared at the weight on the ground. 1 piece out of 5. The backpack was still heavy. But removing the first piece wasn't enough, because the second weight had nothing to do with the system. It had everything to do with something the man was doing to himself, every single time he got paid. The tycoon glanced at the man's phone. Brand new, still in the case. "You just got a paycheck, didn't you?" The man said nothing. In the 1% world, money is a tool for freedom. In the 99% world, money is a tool for anesthesia. He reached into the backpack. Second weight. When your life is painful, when cortisol is running high and you feel invisible and small, your brain screams for a win. So you buy the shoes, the drink, the phone. And for 20 minutes, the pain disappears. For 20 minutes, you feel like you matter. He set the weight down. That's not weakness. That's biology. You're self-medicating. But the relief lasts 20 minutes. The debt lasts 20 years. The man looked at his phone. The fundamental difference between how the wealthy and everyone else see money isn't intelligence. It isn't opportunity. It's this. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take it out. Most people in the low-income trap are drowning in liabilities that look like rewards. So what do I do? Monk mode, not forever. 6 months. You strip your spending to survival essentials and nothing else. Your friends will think you've gone strange. He looked at the man directly. Let them. Because when you stop getting dopamine from spending, your brain rewires. You start getting it from watching your account grow, from the quiet feeling of control. And that version of dopamine, the system has no weapon against it. 2 weights on the track. 3 still in the backpack. "Now," the tycoon said. The first 2 pieces were about individual behavior. But the third piece, this one is structural. It's built into the contract you signed with your working life. And it mathematically guarantees that the harder you run, the further behind you fall. You were taught an equation, the Tycoon said. Time equals money. More hours, more pay. The man nodded. That was his life. 3 jobs, 60-hour weeks. That equation has a fatal flaw. Time is finite. You sleep, which means your income has a hard ceiling, a number you can never exceed no matter how hard you push. He pulled out the third weight, heaviest one yet. Your expenses have no such ceiling, and there is a force silently widening that gap every single year. Inflation. When prices rise 8% and your raise comes in at 3%. A year later, when inflation has already taken what you earned, you aren't moving up. He pointed at the track. You're running up a down escalator, and the escalator is moving faster than you can run. I've been doing that for 11 years, the man said quietly. I know. So how do I get off? You stop selling time and start selling value. Value can scale, time cannot. He called it a skill stack, not mastery of one thing in a crowded field, genuine capability in 2 or 3 unrelated skills, combined into something the market has never seen before. The construction worker who learns sales, the warehouse worker who learns copywriting, they detach their income from their hours. They become harder to replace. They become assets instead of commodities. The market pays for rarity. It does not pay for effort. He set the third weight on the track. The backpack was lighter now. The man stood straighter. Look at the crowd, the Tycoon said. The man turned. His friends, his family. Some of them were shaking their heads. A few had already started drifting away. Human beings are mimicking machines. We have mirror neurons that subconsciously copy the behavior, the language, and the ceiling of everyone around us. If your 5 closest people have accepted their situation, quietly, without ever admitting it, you will too. He reached in for the 4th piece. This is social gravity, and here's what makes it the cruelest chain of all. When you start changing, when you enter monk mode, build your buffer, learn a new skill, the people who love you most will pull you back. Not because they're evil, because your escape makes their staying feel like a choice. I can't cut everyone off, he said. You don't have to, but you have to protect your mind. You live in the age of the internet. The people you spend mental time with are a choice. You can spend 3 hours absorbing the thinking of someone who has never left your block, or you can spend those same hours inside the minds of the most successful people who ever lived, their books, their interviews, their long-form thinking. You get to choose whose average you become. 4th weight on the track. 1 left. Everything we've talked about, the Tycoon said. The buffer, monk mode, the skill stack, the new tribe, all of it is set up for the 5th piece. Because the 5th piece is the engine. And once you understand it, the previous 4 will feel like they were always pointing here. The Tycoon reached into the backpack one final time. Einstein called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. He held up the last piece. Right now, which side are you on? The man didn't answer. He thought about the payday loan, the credit card at 24% interest, the car loan he'd been rolling over for 3 years. Every morning you wake up slightly poorer than the night before, even if you never spent a dollar. The interest is already running. You're paddling upstream. The current is stronger than your arms. The wealthy are on the opposite shore. Their money earns while they sleep. Index funds, assets, businesses. Every morning they wake up richer, without leaving the house. He set the final weight on the track. The backpack was empty. Crossing that line is escape velocity, and it happens in 3 stages. Survival. Stop the bleeding. Use your monk mode savings to eliminate high-interest debt first. Kill the vampire that drains you while you sleep. Accumulation. Buy productive assets, not a car, not status. $10 a day into a low-cost index fund if that's all you have. The snowball looks pathetic at first. Trust the math. Freedom. The moment your assets generate enough cash flow to cover your basic needs, the gravitational pull breaks. You no longer sell your time to stay alive. You have options. You have dignity. You have orbit. The Tycoon picked up the backpack, empty now, and set it aside. Then he reached into his jacket and held out a set of keys, not to a car, to a small empty office 2 blocks from the track. Inside is a computer and one skill the market finds rare. The backpack is gone. He looked at the man. But if you walk back into that crowd, They will put it on you again within an hour. The man looked at the crowd, then at the 5 weights on the track, then at the keys. He took the keys. He didn't take the $1 million. Because $1 million is just a bigger backpack if you don't have an engine. Wealth is not a number. Wealth is the ratio of your freedom to your expenses. The moment your assets cover your life, the friction disappears. The silence comes. You stop fighting physics and start using them. Most people are waiting for a lottery win. The 1% are waiting for the launch. The door to the cage was always open. You just have to stop running the lap. If you are not following Tycoon logic, you are likely still running the lap. The world isn't divided into the lucky and the unlucky. It's divided into those who are crushed by the weight and those who learn to remove the weights. Most people will feel something watching this. A spark, a shift, and then they'll walk back into the crowd, and within an hour, the backpack will be on again. They'll go back to selling their time for pennies and spending their freedom on dopamine. The ones who don't, the ones who actually move, they don't do anything dramatic. They don't wait for a miracle. They save the $500. They enter the quiet. They build the stack. One weight at a time. That's what this channel is built for. Every video, one more piece off your back. One step closer to the speed you need. If that's the game you want to play, you know where to find us. See you at escape velocity.